What's going on, awesome people? It's the second IG Live of the day. This is the Awesome People Instagram Live series, and I hope you've been having a great Friday. And in just a few hours, you get to go do something exciting. Unfortunately, I'm going to be working and planning and preparing for the incredible Azadi Festival happening on July 3rd. And all the stuff that we're doing, it could not be possible without some pretty dope-ass people that have been called the ambassadors. And as I continue to have these Awesome People Instagram Live episodes with as many ambassadors, some individuals, they play multiple roles, such as my guest this evening, who's going to be not just the ambassador, but he's also one of the performers. And I'm looking forward to welcoming him in a second. I'm sorry if I'm looking down for a second, is because I had my notes for his bio. What the hell happened to my thing? Anyways, hope you're doing well. I'm about to bring on my dear friend Pej Ahmadi, originally from the Montgomery County area. Then he went all the way to Sacramento, and then now he just moved to LA. He's working so hard as a comedian, as an actor, as a human rights activist. And he's just multi-talented, everything. Actor, musician, comedian, etc. And under the stage name of Pej the Maniac. And he approaches stand-up comedy, his podcast, the Fumble Podcast, which I had the pleasure of being on, and all ventures that he's lucky to be a part of with love, purity, togetherness, and silly goof maniacal comedic relief. If it's not fueled in love, he hates it. I actually love that line, and it's very descriptive of this person. And when you meet him virtually in a couple minutes, I think you will sense that energy. Nothing but kindness, nothing but love, nothing but humility, and all with a lot of laughter and hilarity. Is that a word, hilarity? I think it is. To me, it's going to be a word. So, he brings to the ambassador crew some lightheartedness, some positivity, some really funny lines, a lot of one-liners. Every group needs to have somebody like Pej Ahmadi. So right now, it's my pleasure to welcome this man that has graciously decided to offer his time, his talent, and is flying all the way to the nation's capital, back home. He's coming home to the DC area for the Azadi Festival, July 3rd, to perform live, to bring us some positivity, hope, and laughter, and a lot of seriousness too. So let's go ahead and bring him in. And please, if you already know Pej from the back days or old days, show him some love. If you've never met him, you're about to meet a cool dude. Pej,
What up?
I didn't recognize you without being in the car. How are you?
That's right. I'm finally in a place that doesn't have gas. How you doing, man?
Good, man. I feel like you've been on the road for a few weeks.
Yeah. That's how it rolls, man. Hey, I'm glad to be here, though, man. How you been?
Not too bad. Thanks to you, we're chugging along and we're getting ready for the big Azadi Festival, July 3rd. And for starters, thank you so much for being a believer of Azadi Festival, all we're doing. But let's kind of take a step back from before Azadi Festival. And for anybody who's never met Pej Ahmadi, give a little short background about yourself.
I am a son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. I'm a guy that kind of got it figured it out at a young age, where my heart is at and where my love is, and then I kind of got away from it. And by that, I'm talking about music. I started as a musician at a young age of 4. I was only 4 years old, and I really my first song that I sang was in the back of my dad's Scooby-Doo VW in Iran. Like I was sitting. I remember sitting in the back, and then her Siyawash Gomeshi song came on, Tuya Take came on, and then I just started singing it in the back of the car. For me, I was just singing it, and then apparently, I guess my parents were like, "I think we got something here." So, yeah. So anyway, fast forward, got to Maryland eventually, and then grew up there and went to high school in Watkins Mill. All my Watkins Mill alumni, if you're alive, yeah, it's
hard for the dead ones to respond, but yeah.
yeah. They hear us, but but yeah, that was my high school, and then after high school, I moved to Sacramento, man. and it was in Sacramento where I rediscovered my love for music. And then I studied music at UC Davis, and I was in some rock bands, and I didn't really sing much Persian anymore after the Siyavash Gomeshi song, but that was really where my passion lied. It was just Freddie Mercury was he kind of put everything in perspective for me as far as like what my purpose is. Like he was another Persian boy like me. Like he left in the 60s to go from Zanzibar. Again, his family had to leave Iran as well. You know, there's a whole story with him as well. But yeah, so then I got into some bands, and then did some compositions at UC Davis, did some opera. And
Opera.
yeah.
I like how you just slide that one in. It's like you went from rock and Freddie Mercury to opera. Okay.
I mean, it was a challenge. Like I was challenged by my music coach at the time, and she said, "I think you can do it." And it was a full Italian operetta. I didn't speak a lick of Italian other than pizza, and then it was it. And then 3 months of like intense training. It was I'd do that again in a heartbeat. That was such a fun, intense, training and learning and understanding what I'm saying, and then delivering that performance. It was a treat for sure. But then after that, I started teaching music, and I really found my calling as a funny man. So that's what I'm doing now. So comedy, acting, music. I'm like Jamie Foxx light, you can say.
Do you in your comedic elements or sets, do you integrate elements of singing as well, or is it one time you're performing on the music part and then one time you're doing the comedic? Well, how does that work?
That's a great question. To be honest, I'm figuring it out because it pulls it pulls different emotional strings for me. Like singing, like I become a sap. But when it comes to comedy, like it's a whole different side of me. But I have done it. I have tried it, especially like to kind of that element of surprise, because most people think these eyebrows can't sing, so they're like, But then I do it, and then they're like, "Oh shit! All right." So
can you make the eyebrows dance too? I mean,
only one.
There
My colleague can do both, and I'm still learning.
So tell us about your journey with regards to Iran. Were you born in Iran?
I was born in Iran. I was born in near Tehran, Karaj, but my parents say just say Tehran. It's not a big deal. I was like, I'm very specific. But yeah, I was born in Tehran. My dad is of Kermuni descent. My mom is of Sangasari or Semnan descent. I think they changed the name of that city because Sangasari doesn't really sound good. But anyway, that's my bloodline. And then we lived in Baluchistan till I was like 5. And for people who know or who don't know, Baluchistan is one of the cities and provinces who's under constant attack right now in Iran. But yeah, and that's then my dad's shop got closed for the 3rd time, and that's when my dad was like, he never wanted to leave Iran, but that's when he sat us and he was like, "Baderim Kharij," and I'll never forget that. I was like 5 years old, and I just remember us sitting on the floor around a coffee table when he said that, and it just felt like something's happening. And going to Kharij means we're going to another land. Like they didn't even know, And so, and I'm not alone. Obviously, all of us have had some version of this story of our parents having to make that sacrifice or coming here when Iran was free and then getting stuck here. We came here in the 90s, so it was after the revolution and all that. But being Baha'is, though, we had to get smuggled out. So we got smuggled out of Iran into Pakistan. 7 months later, America was accepting refugees, and here we go. And that's what happened. And I think I ended up in Maryland by age of 8. So
when you were saying that your dad's store was closed up multiple times, was that because of the fact that you were Baha'i, the family's Baha'i, and so you were constantly under attack by the regime, essentially?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just they have multiple systemic ways of oppressing all minorities, all other religions, but the Baha'i faith is their favorite one to to really go after. And yeah, my dad's shop, it was actually doing very, very well. It was an appliance store, and they caught wind of that, and so, you know, oh, state law, you have to close, different bullshit reasons, and they would never say it's because you're Baha'i, because they were cowards, but that's what it was. It was the underlying tone. And the third time was like, you know, my dad's just had enough, and he had to support my sister, me, my mom. And so my mom couldn't work at the time, so it was just him. So he gave all that up, and yeah, we came to Maryland.
So how much is all of that like the fuel behind the fire that you have to actively and consistently do whatever you can in this revolution?
You know, it's that story about my dad's shop is always been with me, but specifically with the woman life freedom movement, knowing the fact that my mom she was in prison for a year before I was born. So that honestly is like the ultimate, because she went in with my grandmother. They took them both in before I was born, 84, I want to say. 83 or 84. My sister was born, so my dad had to take care of my sister. She was like 3. Anyway, and so 1 year, and the horrid stories that my mom has shared about what they did to them in there, right? And to get them to recant, just for them to say you're not a Baha'i, right? And the most powerful one was my grandmother. They were lashing my grandmother's feet. Sorry if this is graphic, but they were lashing her feet in front of my mom, and they had a frame of the Baha'i prophet on the chair, and they were telling her to sit on that while they lashed my grandmother's feet and say she's not a Baha'i. Like, it was this kind of mental fuckery that they were trying with them. And the craziest part of that story is that my grandmother looks at my mom and says, if you recant, you're no longer my daughter. So
Wow.
yeah. So this, and again, I'm just one of many. Like, our story is just multiply that by as many. There's been so many and have had way worse. A lot of Baha'is have been executed, you know, so they're no longer with us. But yeah, so all, you know, everything said though, like for me, that story is, even though I don't always think about it, when you ask me, it's like, that's probably where it comes from. So.
Well, first of all, I'm very sorry to hear that your mom and your grandmother and your family endured. This is the first time that I'm hearing about this story, and I can understand how that could be a driving force in all that you've been doing. But what an incredible story from your grandmother to still, even during that moment of, in many ways, weakness, because you're there and somebody else is exerting so much force. There was so much strength and inner faith in your grandmother, and like this is the quintessential Shirzan. When you think of Shirzan, that's what it is, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I do a much more funny version of this story on stage, but it's like, not that there's anything to laugh about right now, but it's yeah, my grandmother, she, like, by the time I was old enough to really grasp this story, like, you know, she was in her 80s, you know, so like, it did bring me closer. Unfortunately, my grandparents are all in Iran when they passed away. So the last time I saw my grandma, I think it was 2009 or 2010. So right around the Green movement, right? The Green Revolution. So, and then I heard news that she passed. So but I got to meet her, or I got to get close to her when I was like a like early 20s and then late teenage years. So that was, for me, that was good. And just to kind of have that connection. But yeah, man, she's definitely lion-hearted for sure. She's on for sure. So, and there's many of them. There's many of them throughout. There's so many stories, you know. The Mona story that was just shared, you know, from she was only 17.
Our story is one.
Yes, our stories. One, she was only 17. She another Bahai who was hung, and you know, they gave her the same ultimatum: say you're not a Bahai, so you can walk. But they all they refused, and they all, you know, they're all angels now, looking over the Bahai community.
Right.
I'm not as religious as I used to be. However, it's always there's always a soft spot for, with the people who've actually endured some of this hardship, the real tests that they've been through. Like, I'll always fight for them, because not only my own family, but and not only Baha'is, anybody who's been subjected to this bully of a regime. I can't just sit down and be like, all right, well, I'm in America, so who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Right.
I literally, like, and I'm talking a lot, I know, but when the revolution kicked off, it just, I'm gonna be honest, like, I was just doing my comedy. I was just, you know, like, having my podcast and just having like all types of guests on, and doing my little sketch comedy and here and there, just being my maniacal self. But then something shifted in me. I just felt like if I just continue to do this, I'm not even enjoying it. So there was something about my online presence that had to change. And just like you, just like any other diaspora member that's fighting to amplify the voice, we were figuring it out, you know, like, how do we do it? And so I started with the podcast. I was like, I'm just going to start bringing people on, and let's hear their stories, you know?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, tell us more about the Fumble podcast that you created the last year or so, right?
Yeah, that started in February of 2021. I was, in a past life, I was a married man, and so but you know, I was struggling. I was struggling with my happiness. I was trying to figure out what is my calling. Like, you know, I love music, but something's missing. And then I woke up. I was like 33. I was like, I forgot to be funny. Like, I need to go back to being having an online presence, being funny again, and you know, long story short, 2021 started Fumble Podcast, and then I loved sports, so I played with the word fumble, and then I was like, why don't I flip the word, make it P humble, and so it just became this thing. And my whole thing was, it was rooted in love. It had to be rooted in love and togetherness, and just learning from all walks of life. And now, you know, I'm 5 seasons later. It's you honored us by coming on to that podcast as well, and you shared your story, and I love having people like yourself on there, and you know, and I've been focusing on Iran a lot more, but you know, I have guests from all over, so.
Yeah, no, first of all, the honor was mine, and I saw a lot of similarities between your approach and your podcast and what you're trying to do. I just felt like there was just a connection. You're like, we were like on the same wavelength as far as wanting to just make our platform be one of purpose, you know, and you were able to integrate your comedic background and your curiosity. I'm assuming usually people who want to put so much time into interviewing other people, it all stems from curiosity, you know, like you want to learn from more people. Let's transition to the Azadi Festival. You know, like we've been friends from afar for the past 5-6 months as a result of this connection online. And then when I asked you to consider being a part of Azadi Festival, you graciously agreed, and to the point where you decided to fly over and be a part of this program and be an ambassador and being integrally involved. So what was it about the Azadi Festival that you're like, man, I really need to be a part of this, and then I need to go there myself and be a part of it in person and do whatever I can to make it amazing?
Well, obviously it's Moby Dick's. You know, like, it's getting that kebab, man. I miss that place. And you know, it's crazy because you and I have roots in Montgomery County and Maryland, and you know, you spend a lot of your time there, but we never really connected when we were both living there. But then I moved to SAC, and now I'm in LA, and then you're in Miami. But no, all jokes aside, I would say it was just, as I it was like an obvious answer to join this as an ambassador. And then as we've been having our group messages, and as I'm seeing it develop, I was like, nah, I can't miss this, man. This is gonna be one of many. Like I could see it happening, you know, and the energy and the bottom line was just the camaraderie and the love that's shared amongst all the people who are working diligently, including yourself and everyone. That the list is so long, I can't name them all, but most of them are on here right now. But you know, it's I just was like, I can't just be an ambassador from afar. Like I need to be there. And then when Shaheen Samadi was like, I'm going, I'm like, nah, I gotta go. If he's gonna go, I gotta go.
You're like, no, man, I can't go.
Nah, if this dude is going, I gotta go.
Well, that's great. And so and we're gonna have you do a very cool performance, right? So well, you're trying to figure out what particular song it is. Do you have any kind of updates on what we can possibly expect, or do you want to keep it a secret for now?
No, I'll say this much. The song is tentatively chosen. We're working on a specific rendition of it. So, and by us, I'm talking about, and she's gonna love that I'm mentioning this, Ashley Zara is helping me. So with her full plate, she's still gracious enough to be able to help me create this. And for those who don't know, Ashley is an amazing artist out here. She's also going to be there at the festival. So yeah, working on the song. It's called It's a Man's World by Seal. And obviously, if you listen to that song, it's not even about men. It's actually about women and girls empowerment. So I thought it was a perfectly fitting song with what we're envisioning at Azadi. And I'm gonna say some jokes at another time during the day. So
yeah. And I think at one point you gotta have your inner Freddie Mercury come out too, and a little bit of "We Will Rock You," and then like, you know, rocking is just smashing the face of the regime or something like that. You know,
I love that. Yeah, and I want to break free. Yeah, that's the one.
There we
man.
go.
That's the song.
There we go. Yeah. You know, you've given us little samples of your voice in our video calls. You have something in there that I cannot wait to see it blossom. I haven't seen it in person, unfortunately. I haven't seen it on video, but you need to make more videos of singing. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I will. I'm excited. I'm excited to bring that part of my bag, I guess, as you call it, to the festival. It's an honor. Like East Coast is really where I found my voice, you know, and so to me, it makes sense to bring the singing as well as the comedy.
I came all the way to Miami and I still can't find mine, but maybe
keep going, Sam.
Until I start singing Spanish.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so it's looking good. I mean, do you want to give anybody a little taste of what to hear? Is there something either operatic or a little bit more of the Freddie Mercury? You know,
Freddie Mercury. Yeah. Well, a lot of people who listen to Queen, usually their favorite song is Bohemian Rhapsody. For me, it was Somebody to Love, and it's that song just, I don't know, it connected with me. Each morning I wake up, I die a little, can barely stand on my feet, take a look in the mirror and cry, girl, what you doing to me? There you go.
There you go. Hell yeah, man. I appreciate that. Anybody who's willing on a whim to do that kind of stuff, that's great. That got me even more excited and looking forward to the performance. So
thanks, man.
I'm sure the ladies, they loved it. The hearts are gonna start dropping, the minds are gonna start blowing.
I am divorced, so it's fine.
Even Mona from Sweden is appreciating it, and Sarah from Florida. So let me kind of go a little bit about your last time in Iran was when, you said?
I left Iran in 1994, and I ended up in Maryland in 95.
So,
and that was the last time.
So we all are definitely fighting for a free Iran, and we're pretty optimistic that Iran will be free. What do you look forward to the most in going back to Iran when it's free?
Two things. One is more appropriate for what we're doing, which is I want to go and like the first thing I want to do is do one of my bucket lists is to go in front of Azadi Festival, or sorry, not Azadi Festival, Azadi Square, and do sing. I want to be able to sing freely, and I want to do comedy there, like put on a show, like an outdoor show. To me, that as soon as I saw hope that Iran is going to be free again, and it will be, that was the first thing I thought of. The second thing is just because I'm fat, I want to go and have the original Nun Sefid hot dogs, man. That I haven't had that since I left, and it's one of like I'm a simpleton when it comes to food, but like out of all the Persian food I could have chosen, that's the one that I haven't had in literally almost 30 years. So it's like, and my dad and mom go and visit, and they told me like, oh, that's everywhere. You can get it like on a whim. I was like, damn, I gotta go just for that. So
Nune Sefid hot dog?
yeah, it was the type of bread. It was like I don't know. It was like
It wasn't Wonder Bread, was it?
I wonder. I don't know. But they called it Nun Safid, and maybe that was just our family how they call it. You know how our families have different names for the same thing.
Yeah.
But Nun Safid, but then sosis cocktail is what it was called.
Okay.
So yeah, so that to me, and then the khiyar shur and then the Persian ketchup. Oh my God!
You got me hungry for dinner. The last thing I want to ask you before I let you go is, what does a free Iran look like to you?
Free Iran to me looks like anyone with any religion, any preference, any sexuality, whatever, however they want to live their life, can just do it literally hand in hand, and they only motivate each other, and that requires a cultural evolution as well. I understand that, but that would be for me like the ideal, like just seeing that. And we're already starting to see that. Like you have people that are choosing to wear hijab, but they have no problem with people who don't. And to me, that's what it's about. Like like there's been this false narrative that, oh, Islamophobia and all. It's not about that. It's about everyone being able to practice whatever they want to practice, as long as you're not harming others. Do you know, just let them be free. The LGBTQ community, like being free to be themselves, and the minority religions, there's no such a thing as rules for those things anymore, right? Like just allow people to exist the way they want to exist.
Pure freedom.
Pure freedom.
Pure freedom.
Yeah.
Well, freedom is Azadi Festival is July 3rd.
Be there.
It's truly an event that it's for the people, by the people, to give power to the people, you know. And so it can only be done when the people that are behind it and that are organizing it are aligned in every shape possible, from a unity standpoint. And we have that infrastructure right now, and it's because of people like you. And I'm extremely grateful for you believing in it, participating in it, bringing the people around you that you know that could bring value to it, bringing them to it, and bringing in such great energy, love, positivity, hope. These are all the things that we want in our homeland. And so we're really creating what we want in our motherland, in our own community outside of Iran, until the number of people in our community is big enough, that the voice is loud enough, that we're strong enough, and then we drown out the ones that have been depriving our people of that. So much love to you, man. I cannot wait to meet you in person. Absolutely. I cannot wait to support you and your dreams and your mission, professionally and personally and spiritually. And thank you, man. You're a brother.
The pleasure is all mine. And to last note I'll make about what you just said beautifully is everything you said about me. It goes both ways, and I think that energy has to be felt in order to be reciprocated. It's hard. Obviously, the goal is to carry out that energy despite what's around you, but it's a lot easier when you have people like yourself and this dope dream team of a crew that you've assembled for Azadi Festival. Uh, there's not that many people like Iman, so give him some love whenever you can, because this guy, I've never met him in person, and maybe I'll change my mind when I do, but until until then, I fuck with this guy. He walks it. He doesn't just talk it. So
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
appreciate you, man.
Well,
Much love.
whatever I'm doing is only possible with this whole crew that we got. I can't wait to unify us all together, just so that we can strengthen this friendship and relationship and this family bond. And Ravin put earlier in the comment, revolution family, you know, and I was like, wow, we are a revolution family. I mean, this is it. So it's great, man. Well, until Iran is free, man. Bomida Azadi, thank you so much. Love you, man.
Love you too, man. Thank you, guys. Be'omida Azadi.
Shab bakhair. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Pej the Maniac, Pej Ahmadi, all the way from California, IEA. He's going to be flying to the east side for our July 3rd Azadi Festival. If you have no idea what Azadi Festival is, first of all, thank you for coming out from under the rock. Now go to the link in my bio or go to azadi-festival.com. 12 hours of unity through culture. Everything that's great about Iranian culture and history is basically being jam-packed into a 12-hour experience at Ship Garden in Tyson's. Everything you can imagine, from the food to the music to the poetry to the dancing to the children activities to dog parks to giveaways to Iranian inspired drinks and different types of Iranian cuisines, and also having Azadi Festival merch. Really, we're bringing a little bit of Iran to the nation's capital. And like I was telling Pej, we just want to continue to build on this community. Like, we have already created our vision for Iran, and there's already some people that are living the vision, and it's a beautiful thing. I know it is, because I am energized by it. I'm feeling it. I'm loving it. I'm inspired by it. I want to continue to fight because of these brothers and sisters that I have by my side. And the virtual house welcomes all of you who are interested in coming into this house. As long as all you care about is a free and secular Iran, and as long as your heart beats for our people, there's so much room, and we will continue to make our virtual home bigger and make room for you. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So please consider joining us as either an ambassador, such as what Pej Ahmadi is, or an ally, which means you're going to promote it, or become a vendor if you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, or sponsor the event. You can sponsor from anywhere around the world, or go to our online merch store, link in bio, again, courtesy of our friends at Retail Therapy Clinic. There's so many different types of merch you can get, from hats to shirts to tees to even stuff for your furry little dogs, from bandanas to collars to dog bowls. I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. And 100% of everything that's sold in that merch store goes straight to the production cost of this program, which is a lot. So we greatly appreciate you all helping out in any shape or form you can. That is all for now. Tomorrow afternoon, we have 2 more guests on IG Live. I'm going to be having our DJ Kia, one of Exclusive Entertainment's DJ, who's going to be performing. 1 p.m. Eastern is the next Awesome People Live tomorrow. And then we have Shiva Saber tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. Shiva Saber has been an incredible uniter for the past year. She's helping lead the entire Sonati room, this immersive Iranian or traditional Iranian experience. She's doing so many things. I mean, it's really like commendable what she's doing. And I have the great pleasure of having a nice long conversation tomorrow with her and all the things that her and her team are doing to make the Azadi Festival more Iranian. And also Shiva, if you've seen all the flyers for the Azadi Festival, that entire design, that is actually her artwork. The Azadi Tower in the background of our flyer is Shiva's artwork. So grateful for her being the entire promotional element of this program. Enough about this whole conversation here tonight. Gonna let you go enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Ba umid azadi.